Welcome to 5 Minutes Alone with God. Today we are in the Gospel of Luke. We are in chapter 2, verse 37 through 52. Follow along as I read. So when they had performed all things according to the law of the Lord, they returned to Galilee, to their own city Nazareth. And the child grew and became strong in spirit, filled with wisdom, and the grace of God was upon him. His parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem according to the custom of the feast. And when they had finished, they returned. And the boy Jesus lingered behind in Jerusalem, and Joseph and his mother did not know it. But supposing him to have been in the company, they went a day's journey, and sought him among their relatives and acquaintances. So when they did not find him, they returned to Jerusalem seeking him. Now, so it was that after 3 days they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the teachers, both listening to them and asking them questions. And all who heard him were astonished at his understanding and answers. So when they saw him, they were amazed, and his mother said to him, "Son, why have you done this to us? Look, your father and I have sought you anxiously." And he said to them, Why did you seek me? Did you not know that I must be about my Father's business?" But they did not understand the statement which he spoke to them. Then he went down with them and came to Nazareth, and was subject to them. But his mother kept all these things in her heart. And Jesus increased in wisdom and stature, and in favor with God and men. So in reading a passage like this, we just really want to deal with the couple main questions. What's the author saying? So give us a summary. State in 2 or 3 sentences, what do you think this passage is talking about? Right off the bat, we know there's a festival that the family's going to. We see Jesus has grown from a young child to a teenage boy. 12 is the age that's given there, but he's the preteen. And apparently he stayed behind in Jerusalem, and they lost him. They didn't know where he was at. And when they come and talk to him, he's telling them he had to be about his father's business, and they're confused by this. And they tell him to come home, and obviously he does. He's compliant, and he submits to them. That's really what's going on in this entire passage. It doesn't take a lot of sentences to describe that, but if you get something to that main concept, you've done well. And that's really what you're trying to bring out. You're just trying to bring out what's the summary of this whole passage. Jesus and his family went to Jerusalem. His family left after the feast of Passover. Jesus was not among them. They searched for him for 3 days, and they found him in the temple. They told him to come with him, and he did. And Jesus grew in wisdom and stature before God. That's what's taking place. So how do we apply something like this? Well, as a parent, and many parents, we've all lost children, and there's that horrible sick feeling that you have when, for whatever reason, it doesn't mean you have to lose a child for 3 days like they did, but just for a split second, and it's a horrible, horrible fear. So in a passage like this, you might think, always know where your children are. Get a cell phone. Have an app that you can always know where they're at. Well, that's one application I suppose you could take. Another thing that we just notice about this, or I notice about this, is that there is growth. Just like there was growth with Jesus, there will be growth for myself as I spend time in God's Word. And I will mature as I spend more time in God's Word. How would you apply this to your life? Well, that's our time together today. Have a great day. Luke chapter 3, verses 1 through 14.